Welcome back
Okay.
to another Productivity Like a Pro podcast episode today with my dear friend Paco, as usual, and our members in the chat. We will tackle the question how inboxes improve your productivity, or how can inboxes improve your productivity. And it's a very important question because inboxes are really underestimated. Especially, we see this if there are productivity tools like Captabase coming out, they're not providing an inbox yet. And that's why we think it's an important episode to point out what inboxes are all about. And they're misunderstood by many people, and they get anxiety just by hearing the word inbox. And that's what we will kill today. Paco, welcome to the show. Let's go.
Paperless Movement, your productivity, your way.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for being here. Inboxes are essential because if we make a bold statement, as we like to do whenever we start a piece of content, and this podcast episode is no exception, there are two main components of any productivity system. One is routines, and the other ones, without any hesitation, are inboxes, okay? Because they are crucial, okay? They allow us to do two different but main and crucial things. One is to release our mind, okay? Because the moment that we know that something has been captured immediately, that releases a shot of dopamine, and you can keep the flow, but also feel that sense of control, okay? That I think that it's essential if you want to achieve peak productivity. But secondly, and even more important, is that they give us the pause that we need to think. Okay, I think that the moment we start thinking is the moment that we deliver amazingly. And those are the two main advantages talking about inboxes that, by the way, as you have said at the beginning, they are quite criticized. Okay, it looks like old school. Okay, and just I think that most of the people who criticize them is because they are not using it properly, or they don't understand inboxes as we do. Okay, that's why we like to define the things inside our ICOR methodology, because the moment that we really understand the scope and the definition of any concept and how we put them into action using workflows, no matter the tool that we are using, things make all the sense, okay? And at the end, you end up with a productivity system that you have designed, that you understand perfectly. And inboxes are one of the main components of that productivity system because, well, I think that even though routines are much link, I would say, to the concepts and the theory of systems, okay? I think that inside a productivity system, inboxes are as crucial as routines because at least I can say two things. We haven't found a better way of creating a productivity system, but also most of the, I would say, main tools, okay? Talking about software tools, they include an inbox. I don't know why so many people concluded that they are crucial, no matter that, for instance, some of the tools, even inside our tool stack, like Heptabase, they don't consider that it's needed. And we can feel, much of our members, the friction that it causes, okay? Not having an inbox in Heptabase create a kind of friction. You have to, well, to figure out how to create one because they are essential pieces inside any productivity system.
Yeah, let's do an example. So we are using Tana as one of our note-taking apps or PKM tools. And Tana is great for capturing, quick capturing, things like that. So they have a dedicated application just for capturing information. And where does it end up? It ends up in an inbox. And that is key because now if I'm on the go, I quickly have thought. I make an audio capture. Maybe I find an interesting link. I quickly send this to Tana. And once I'm back on my desk and I can open up Tana calmly, I can then process this inbox and move the different pieces of information, even if it is something that needs to go to the deep thinking system or maybe even the action system. If you don't have a task manager that is easy to capture things, you could use this as well. The key is, when do you do this? When do you process the inbox? And this is where's the link to the routines. So without routines, you wouldn't never consistently process these inboxes. And that's why it's so key that to have both workflows in place that ensure that you have first no friction to capture any information that comes across. And then secondly, you ensure that you will process this inbox on a frequent basis. So therefore, you could have a morning routine or afternoon routine, depends on when you want to process these things, where you have just in the checkbox one item saying check Tana inbox. That's something that I have there. So I go to the Tana inbox and then I process the information there. And it's just reorganizing the information into their final destination. As I said, it could be a deep thinking information, so it moves out from Tana into Heptabase. And it also allows to not to think too much about the way things are captured. So it doesn't matter if you then distill it later on anyway, or refine this piece of information before it goes into the final destination. And this is so useful. Once you understand how this works, you realize that email is no difference to this. It's an inbox that you have there. You get a flood of information, and this is where we differentiate between the inner and outer world. So usually in email, you get a lot of outer world content, people sending you information, newsletters, things that you didn't trigger will arrive in your email inbox. And that's the same. Without a routine, your email inbox will always be full. And that's the difference why we have Inbox Zero daily. Although we are receiving hundreds of emails per day, and it's no problem at all. And also for our Inner Circle members, we saw this many times, inboxes with thousands of unread emails in there, and then trying to label them and reorganize them. And this is where it comes really into play, that inboxes are just an intermediate step, and the email inbox is no difference, before the information moves into the final destination. And once you get this key understanding, plus then understanding the different types of information that are out there and where they should go and end up, this is where you getting to the point where you're in full control over your productivity system and leverage it to the maximum.
Yeah, it's important to highlight that items inside an inbox demand attention, okay? They require regular processing, but also action, okay? So that's the main function of an inbox, okay? To store items that need action. You need to take action, no matter that is just, I don't know, label that item and then you archive it or remove it from the inbox. And also, you should always achieve inbox zero. Okay, I think that's one of the signals or the key KPIs that you can use to know if you have a real productivity system in place. Okay, if you achieve, we see many people out there on social media highlighting that they achieve inbox zero today, and that's something that should become something that you achieve every day, okay? Because it's not a miracle, okay? It's something that any system should achieve constantly, okay? Because if not, it's a signal that the system is not working properly or you are not executing that system correctly. And the beautiful thing about this is that the moment that you understand the concept of inbox, but also the workflows behind, you can use the exact same workflow no matter the inbox. It doesn't matter if it's your email, if it's your team communication system, if it's your task management, it is your PKM. You execute the exact same workflow no matter the type of object or item or inbox that you are working with, because we have to understand that an inbox affects all the subsystems that we have inside a productivity system. I mean, by subsystem, for instance, your personal knowledge management system, you need an inbox. Your task management system, you need an inbox. Your project management system, you need an inbox. Your team communication system, for instance, if you use a Slack or any other team communication tool to put in place your team communication system, it's pretty pragmatic and useful to being able to mark something and send it to an inbox so that you can perfectly distill and filter it. Okay, the moment that you start moving things to an inbox, the moment that you are giving yourself time to really work on that item, the byproduct is that the consequence is that you are working better and you are helping your teammates, for instance, to work better, because they will receive much more precise output or the thing that they are demanding to you. For instance, whenever anyone makes a comment or create a change into a task that I'm interested in following, I receive a notification inside an inbox that tells me that I need to take action. Maybe it's just getting noticed about it, but maybe it's because someone is waiting for me. So that's the way that I have to interact inside our project management system, because I just go through my inbox. I manage it exactly the same as I do with my email management system, for instance, but I know that I'm up to date, okay? The inbox forces you to take action, because the moment that you have a crystal clear and well-defined goal, as it's achieving inbox zero, okay, then the system itself, it's forcing you, it's encouraging you to take action. And it's by taking action that you are moving towards your goal. And that's why we double down on this concept, because the moment that you implement it correctly, you will achieve your goals with a higher probability. And in fact, it's something that it cannot fail. Okay, I never saw someone who has implemented correctly this tool, like an inbox, and is not running his productivity system, but his work and even his life or her life correctly. Okay, because you are constantly taking action. That's the beautiful thing about this, because if you achieve inbox, I don't know how many inboxes we have, okay, because all our different systems have inboxes, most of them, and we go through all of them daily and even several times during the day. And that's why we keep middle, okay, because it never stops. And that's the real meaning behind a system, that it never stops. And the moment that something never stops and you execute that on a daily basis, it's impossible not to achieve your goals, okay? You can suffer from delays due to unexpected event, due to not doing an estimation correctly, but those are just little delays that are part of real life, okay, of real work. But it's a beautiful thing also behind a system, that the moment that you run it, everything gets done on itself, okay? You are just doing the actions, okay, but it's the system that's telling you what needs to be done. And I think that that's crucial.
Absolutely. And David says this as well in the chat. Superhuman has changed my life. Inbox zero every day. And to give more context for those who don't know Superhuman, it's an email tool that sits on top of your main email. So if you're on Gmail or Outlook, things like that, it just visualizes your emails in a different way. And there are many other tools out there like Spark and Newton Mail and things like that. So Superhuman to us is also the best solution because it is so straightforward, loads of keyboard shortcuts where you can burst through your inbox very quickly, but it also has additional features. So, well, when it comes to inbox zero, you can kill the emails that you have there sitting. If you have 1,000 emails, you can instantly go to inbox zero by saying Superhuman that it should remove all the emails older than 14 days, for example. But that's not the goal, right? We would like to stay in control of all the emails. So therefore, what I'm heavily leveraging there is the different split boxes that you have there. So therefore, when I get an invoice, for example, it goes into the invoice split box. And you can do this also in Outlook or Gmail, where you have the labels or folders where these things move in due to rules. But by doing this, I created separate inboxes that I can process to different times. So the moment I need to send all the invoices to my accountant, I can then go, for example, to invoices, and I have all the invoices there and format this in one batch. That's another thing that we encourage in iCore, batching your work. And by having these split boxes, I think that's a big advantage. But in general, using Command K and Superhuman, you can control so easily what to do with the email forwarding. Well, that would be a whole session just talk about the features that Superhuman offers with AI and things like that. But this being said, that's why we have a separate course besides the iCore Journey courses. There is one more course which is called Email Management Like a Pro. And there we show the tool agnostic approaches for this, how you process your email inboxes. But these approaches apply to any inbox. And then in implementation layer, I show in detail how we use Superhuman in order to apply these tool agnostic concepts and workflows there. And in our upcoming book, The iCore Journey, will launch later this year, there will be a whole chapter just talking about inboxes. It's that important for us that people really understand inboxes and see it in a better light than it was seen previously.
Yes, and this Superhuman works so well, not only because of the graphical user interface, because of the shortcuts, because of the splitting inboxes, is because they did really understand since the inception of the tool what an inbox really is, okay? And well, this is something that they have perfectly defined by differentiating the approach, okay? For instance, I remember that at the beginning, all the email clients just use the concept read or not read, okay? Because you just read an email or you just haven't read it, okay? Here's again, subtleties matter, okay? And at the end, you end up with something amazing just by adding subtleties to the things. And this is what happened with Superhuman. They changed from read, not read to done, not done. And that's, well, first off, it encourages you to take action. And that's something important because the moment you say done or not done, done, it's I'm done with that email. It doesn't need any action so that I can forget about it and I can archive. Because for me, just going inside an email, read it, but I need to take action the moment that it's moved, it disappears because it's already read. It changes the bold to normal letter. I have lost control, and you should never lose control of the items that you have inside your inbox. Okay, you are the one who should take control over each of the items, and that's what Superhuman did, because I can go in and out of any email as many times as I need until I consider that it's done. And that's the same approach that you should use for any of your inboxes, okay? If I want to go into a Slack message that Tom has sent me, I want to go in as many times as I want, and I don't want to remove that item out of my site because of the application or the tool I'm using. It's not the tools that should decide, it should be me. So that gives you the sense of control. And the moment that you have that sense of control is when you can increase your speed, okay? Because you don't waste time by reading or whatever, doing any other undo thing that it's risky. And the moment that you have volume, that system will fail for sure, okay? For sure. And that's the type of things, the subtleties that creates the difference, talking about tools, how they think about the workflows that you should implement. And why we use Superhuman in the implementation layer of our course of email management, our third layer, because the first one are always concept and the second workflows. It's because it fits perfectly workflow that we have previously designed before Superhuman emerged, okay? The point is that we were using some other email clients, but using the exact same workflow. The point is that Superhuman speeded up everything, okay? Because if the workflow has no friction at all, and on top of that, you put amazing features like these ones that we have recently commented, then it becomes a no-brainer and a tool that guarantees the ROI for any busy professional who handles with hundreds of emails per week, as it's our case.
Well, yeah, per day actually even. So Kos has a nice comment there as well in the chat. What can I do about the anxiety when vendors, clients, and others I send emails to and communications don't follow the inbox zero philosophy? 2 to 3 weeks later, you might get an answer. Wow. Well, that's the point where you stay in control of what you send out. So again, referring to Superhuman, you can send an email out and get reminded if there is no follow-up after several days. So you can set a date where you expect to have a follow-up there or a reply from this recipient of the email. And if not, it pops up in your inbox again. And then you can decide if there is additional action needed. You do a follow-up, maybe you send it to somebody else in order to ensure it gets through the noise or things like that. Or you give them a call, whatever. It depends on the email that you have there, especially if you say vendor emails, right? If you order something and you don't get any confirmation, well, then this is something where I would call and say, I sent you this email a week ago. But the key is you will stay in control over this. And this is where you really just send and remind me later feature in Superhuman. And I'm not sure if it is now native in Gmail and things like that as well, as I haven't checked it. They keep adding features to the native email clients as well. This is what helps you exactly with this, because you cannot expect that others will always follow the rules there. Well, but at least you stay in control of seeing what you what you delegated, because in this moment you send an action to somebody and he should work on this, or she, and if it doesn't happen, then there is the moment where you stay in control and say, because you stay in control and you get reminded, well, but I have to complete this, and if they're not getting back to me, everything is on hold, so you're increasing the pressure. And if they replied, the reminder will automatically cancelled. So you won't get reminded anyway. So it's not filling up your inbox if there was a conversation later on going. So that's really useful as well in this case. And another feature is very useful when you triage your email inbox or in general inboxes. Something really useful is the snooze button. So that's something I do. If I have another 40 emails in the inbox, I quickly go through them, and the things that I see very quickly are important that I need to tackle today, I will snooze them for later that day, and I will keep processing all the other emails. So in my next routine, I will have a clearer inbox with the things that I need then to process in a different mindset level. So it depends on in what hurry I am, but the moment I see something very important, I will move it just to my next routine block.
I would tell Kus to recommend Icor to these vendors, clients, and I think that they will improve their productivity and will have a much better work life for sure.
Happier clients.
Follow up, it's something that constantly use. I mean, I've done 3, 4, 5 follow-ups, and at the end, if you send one follow-up per day, at the end, people will reply. And if not, well, you should think about working with a vendor, client, or whatever. Okay, if it pays the bills or just create anxiety and doesn't generate any benefit.
Something
beautiful. One of the things, it's important to people to understand what inbox zero means, okay? Because I think that people think that achieving inbox zero means that you have done all the tasks related to those items, and that's not the case, okay? And the question you should ask whenever you are facing one item inside an box, no matter if it's an email or whatever, it's, will I tackle this today? Will I do something related to this today? If not, snooze it, okay? And the moment that you have decided the items that you will tackle today, then it's a moment you start executing, okay? But imagine that you snooze everything because you see that related to that inbox, you're not gonna tackle anything today. The moment that you snooze, it gets removed and you have achieved inbox zero. And that's something important because, of course, I haven't done the tasks related to, I don't know, 100 emails that I manage every day. But 20 actions I wanted to take into those 100 emails, they are done, and the other ones are smooth, okay? And I will tackle them. That's a beautiful thing. The moment that you are stealing, okay, and going through the triage, you need to decide if you're going to tackle that item today. If not, snooze or push, snooze to tomorrow or any other date that you may consider that that should be tackled. And I think that with that approach is how you keep moving, not archiving, but snoozing, or even archiving, because they are talking about email management. For instance, the only action is just quickly reading it. Then you get done, you archive it, and you forget about it. So that's how you really go through an inbox and achieve inbox zero daily, dedicating not a huge amount of time. Okay. In my case, for instance, talking about email management, I think I dedicate, depending on the day, more or less 1 hour per day. So it's something that it's crucial because sometimes that's shallow work, and I disagree about seeing shallow work as something that is not necessary, that you should only dedicate time to deep work, and shallow work is something to forget about, because it's not, okay? Shallow work defines a type of work depending on a certain level of energy, okay, and how it consumes your brain neurons, okay? We will go into some other day between the differences between shallow work and deep work, because that's something crucial also, talking about managing and with inboxes, because depending on the type of work, the day, the hour and time of the day, depends the type of work that you're gonna distill and the type of inboxes that you're gonna distill. For instance, first thing in the morning, I go through my project management, see the inbox and see if I can delegate or something is waiting for me. That has nothing to do, for instance, with email that can wait, in my case, any longer. That depends on everyone. But you see that there think that that's why inboxes become complex and the outer wall, let's call it the outer wall, our outside icon, because there are many subtleties that people are not concerned, and then they get confused, and then they don't manage properly the inboxes, and then it becomes chaotic, a mess, and a source of anxiety, because people are seeing that no matter the time they dedicate, they never achieve their goals. Inbox zero becomes a miracle and something that it will never be achieved. And then it's just the opposite of what we are saying and why we defend the inbox. Because if an inbox doesn't give you control, that sense of control and relaxation, then it's working properly.
Absolutely. And I just want to add something to the topic before, the vendors and the clients not opening their email or finding this. This is again a cause, as I just see in the chat, that you are using Superhuman as well. They just added a new feature called Smart Send. So considering that these people have maybe hundreds or thousands unread emails in there and it gets just dumped somewhere in between, you can just send this email with Smart Send, and it will keep the email until to the best. Well, it will send the email the moment it's most likely that the other person will open up the email, based on the previous conversations, because Superhuman is tracking the opening of emails. And based on this, it will recognize when is the best time to send it, so the person will most likely open it. So it essentially means it will appear in their inbox the moment they are actually active in their email inbox. And therefore, you can stay on top of it, depending on how many emails they get per day. It's always a lucky thing if you send out a lucky shot if you send it out and hoping for that you stay on top of their email inboxes. Well, I think we covered everything about inboxes today. It's important to understand inboxes are useless without routines. It's just a mess otherwise. And it's also not useful if you don't know what to do with the items in the inbox and how to process them. So by just realizing this, you will be able to approach inboxes in a complete different way. And that's something, we will keep talking about because it's such a crucial thing. And that's something we will also keep pushing for any tools that we see out there that don't have an inbox, because for example, Heptabase, the developers from Heptabase, they are more knowledge workers, so they work in the tool and they bring in the information. It's not like they are running through the floors and somebody tells you something very quickly and you have to quickly note this down. This is where intermediate tools like the Tana capture, as I explained in the beginning, but also a piece of paper could be your inbox for that day, where you note these things down and then you process this piece of paper later on calmly into the final destination, because you wanted to have it digital to leverage the knowledge later on easier. I think interesting topic, and I thank you all for being with us in this podcast episode again, and we catch you up next time with shallow versus deep work.
Okay,
have a
see you
great time,
guys.
guys.